Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience as we finished debugging a few tech issues. While we were on the break, we had a lovely donation come in, another $5 donation from Brother Doink going to that reverse tracks versus normal tracks incentive for Mario Kart tomorrow. But I think we have waited long enough, so without further ado, I am delighted to introduce IlligallySam, who's going to be running Levelhead 100%. Take it away, Sam.
All right, thank you for the intro. Hello, everybody. I'm IlligallySam, and like you just heard, I'm going to be running Levelhead 100% for you today. And before we get started, I'm going to adjust a couple small control things that will be relevant throughout the run. And, you know, this is Green Gaming Fest. Let's set our color to green, because that seems appropriate. And with that, we can go ahead and just hop right into the run. So I'll give a countdown for the timer of 3, 2, 1, let's go. Alright,
Good
so
luck.
For anybody who has never seen this game before, this is Levelhead. It is an indie 2D platformer with a large focus on user-generated content. So, you know, think Mario Maker, but, you know, not Mario. And like you have heard a couple times now, this is a 100% run. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going through the entire campaign, and I'm going to be doing everything. So what that entails, when we're back on the map, you'll notice a little handy-dandy tracker in the top right-hand corner. And that keeps track of all of the different things we need to do in order to achieve 100%. So what that includes is beating all 93 of the levels, getting the on-time delivery on all 93 of those levels, which is that par time that you see at the top of the screen there while I'm in a level. It also requires getting all of the collectibles in the run. So there are 3 types of collectibles. There's these little gems that are just scattered all throughout all the levels. There are bug pieces, which not every level has them, but levels that do have them have 4 bug pieces for each level. And there's a GR17 in a good chunk of the levels as well. And you might have noticed it in that last level. But those are those little blue robots that I have to go find and free. And so throughout the run, I'm going to be collecting all those different collectibles, and there's just a lot of things to get in this run. And so something else you might notice is a consequence of the on-time deliveries is I'm going to be trying to get everything done within that time limit, but on some levels, that's not possible. It is just too tight of a time, and I will have to re-enter the level and play it a second time in order to get the on-time delivery. And then sometimes, if I make too many mistakes, you'll even see me enter a couple extra times. Like you just saw right there. That's fine, it happens, I'm used to it. Because nailing every single level in under the on-time delivery is very difficult. And like I said, there are a number of levels that are impossible to get all the collectibles in under the on-time delivery. That level was one of them. There are a good number of levels that I will have to do either 1.5 or 2 runs of. And the 1.5 means I specifically just don't get the GR17, while 2 runs means I go back in for the on-time delivery. It'll vary level to level. I'll try and call out a good number of them as they come up, but yeah. And something else you might notice is every time I'm finishing a level here, there's that little package that I have to grab and bring to the end of every level. That's this game's main mechanic. And part of, you know, being a delivery robot and trying to bring this package to the goal, we are incentivized, just like any other real-life delivery man, to go ahead and dunk that package from as high up as possible. So that's what those dots above the goal are, if you have noticed those. However, the way the game incentivizes you is with points. And we don't care about points, we just care about going fast, because this is a speed run. And the higher up you are on the goal, and the better dunk bonus you get, the longer the animation is when you finish a level. And so the difference between a maximum dunk and a minimum dunk is about a full second. So anytime I am able to, you're going to see me try and go for a mid dunk, because that is faster. So yeah, like I said, you'll be seeing that all throughout the run. There's a number of levels where I will intentionally throw the package in front of me to then be able to get down lower. And then there's other levels where I just, you know, instead of jumping straight into the top of the goal, I aim for the bottom, and so on and so forth. You'll notice a few different ways I maneuver my way around it. But there are some levels where it is either not worth it or the on-time delivery is too tight, so don't worry about it. But something else you'll be noticing throughout the run is this package that we're carrying around here. You know, it's our job to deliver it to the goal. But the package is more than just a little piece of set dressing. We're not just picking it up, carrying it, and that's all it does. The package also doubles as a platforming tool. And so what that means is, when it's on the ground, you can just, you know, stand on it and jump off of it. You know, nothing too crazy. But I mean, who says you have to jump off of it while it's on the ground? I mean, I think we can just land on it wherever we want, just jump off it in midair. And so you'll be seeing me do that quite a few times throughout the run, and that is what is called a super jump, when we throw the package into the air, jump off of it, and just get extra height as a result. And so I will call it out again the next time it comes up, because I have done a super jump so far, if you're especially observant, but you'll be noticing it all throughout the run, because it is a very, very staple piece of tech for this game. There's also multiple variations, which you might see me attempt a few of those variations at other points in the run. But as we go to this next level here, I want to call out that the GR-17s, which, like I said, are those blue robots that we're trying to rescue all throughout these runs. In addition to, you know, the fact that we need to collect them, they are unique from every other type of collectible in the game, where in order to have gems count for completion, you need to get every single gem in a level in the same run and then finish the level. In order to get the bug pieces to count for completion, you need to collect the individual bug piece and have that count by finishing the level. And while you can get the bug pieces across multiple runs, obviously, we want to get them all in the same run, but GR-17s are unique in that they save as soon as you get them. So what that means is, if I get a GR-17, I am free to either restart from a checkpoint, I can die, I can quit the level, I can do anything I want, and they will stay collected. And that is actually very relevant in a couple points in this run, because there are times where I collect a GR-17, and it is faster to just restart to the nearest checkpoint than it is to run back the way I came. And there's other times where I will go into a level, collect the GR-17, and just quit out, because that is the fastest way to get it. Alright, this level right here is the first level that has an extremely tight on-time delivery, so hopefully I can pull it off. Alright. Yeah, this level has about a second of leeway, and there is a lot of quick inputs, as you might have noticed, so it is very easy to mess this level up. But because I got the on-time delivery that first time around, I just hop back in, grab the 017, and just head on to the next set of levels. And something else you might have noticed, these levels are not the only nodes on the map that I'm traversing. There is also two other types of nodes. They are cutscenes, which unfortunately we skip, because we're watching cutscenes is slow, but it's unfortunate because they are very entertaining. This game has a great sense of humor, so if you ever do play through this campaign yourself, I would highly recommend watching all the cutscenes. They introduce a lot of the elements of the game, and they are very entertaining in addition to that. But the other type of node that you'll see me blazing through is something called a vendor. That is this thing I'm going towards right now, actually. These vendors unlock icons for your profile and your levels that you create. And so, the reason you see me going into every vendor and watching every cutscene is because in order for 100%, I mentioned, you know, the tracker in the top right keeps track of everything we need for 100%. That's technically not true, because we also need to visit every single node on the map, which means I need to open every vendor and watch every cutscene. And so you're just going to be seeing me mashing through all those vendors all throughout the run, because while the icons are nice as a casual, all we care about is the completion percentage. And they are required, so... Alright, this level is a fun one. I just go around, hit a bunch of switches, and close doors, and that is all I have to do. And if you blinked, the doors were what killed the enemies down below, and I did have to kill all the enemies in order to get through that one. It's a very short level, but I like it because it's a fun little gimmick. Right, then this level is a perfect example of resetting at a checkpoint to save time after I collect the GR17. Which will be at this next checkpoint, in fact. The GR17's over here, and having to navigate back through that fire, go back the way I came, it's slow, so we just restart from the checkpoint and we keep the GR17. Dying is also slow, and that is not intentional, unfortunately. That was me getting a little greedy with my mid-dunks. Because there are a good number of levels where you will not see me go for, like, the lowest possible dunk, because I do not want to risk accidentally missing the goal, because that loses even more time. And that is why. It is very, very easy to accidentally just undershoot it, and you either die or just... either undershoot it and die, or just land on a platform below, and this is not a level with a platform to land on. But that's alright.
I hate meetings
This next
too.
level is another one with an extremely tight on-time delivery. Because I missed that one gem up where I was trying to drop the package, I missed the on-time delivery by just a tiny bit. That's unfortunate. But it's a short level, so it's not that big a deal. Sprint. Alright, let's just do this the old-fashioned way. Finish the level off like a casual board without sprint. But, speaking of sprint, that is one mechanic I have not mentioned yet. You know, a lot of 2D platformers have some sort of running mechanic, whether it's you have to hit a run button or you just run for a little bit and you start going a little faster. That latter one is what this game does. So there's no run button. When you run in the same direction for about 7 tiles uninterrupted, you'll start sprinting. And while sprinting is obviously good from the perspective of speedrunning, because sprinting is faster than walking, I believe that's true even in real life, not just in video games, but... What sprint also does for us, in addition to just running faster, is sprint also gives us an extra tile of jump height. So what that means is there's a lot of levels where getting sprint is required for these strategies that I go for, because I need sprint in order to jump high enough. So most levels where I get sprint, that's the real reason I'm getting it, more so than running faster. Running faster is just a nice little bonus. But while I was explaining that, you might have noticed GR18's looking a little green. That's because I picked up the first power-up that you'll be seeing in this run. It's called the Tiptoe. So what the Tiptoe does, you've noticed I have been just like jumping around the walls, climbing on the ceiling, all that good stuff, because this is the power-up that lets you wall jump and climb to the ceiling, fitting enough. In addition to both of those, which are very important for levels that feature the power-up, it also lets you turn into a bush, like any good power-up does. So what turning into a bush does is it lets you safely pass through enemies and some hazards, and that will be required for some levels, so it'll be a lot more obvious in a little bit. But that doesn't... It's not a feature that gets used too often. A lot of players actually forget that it's even there. Because most of the time you see the tiptoe is used for the wall jumping. It's not used for the ability to go stealth. But like I said, it is required, and it makes some sections a lot easier to get through without dying. So I will be utilizing it when necessary.
Plus, it's a very green gaming appropriate side of the power-up.
Oh yeah, I'd argue it's the most appropriate power-up in the entire run. Alright, and something you might have noticed on the first pass of this level, but you will see again right now, the borders on the side of the screen are, most of the time, a suggestion. So we can go off the side of the screen for about 1 or 2 tiles, I forget the exact amount, in any direction without succumbing to the void. So if you travel too far outside of the screen, GR18 will die, but as long as you are careful and don't go too far, we can just ignore the actual level geometry and just go around things, or go above it, because it works in any direction. So left, right, up, and down, you can go off the map in any of those directions and still be able to survive. This also includes the direction of down, but because of gravity, it's a little difficult to come back from there, even if you are able to survive for about a tile down there. Alright, this level is not easy. It's a lot of very careful platforming while maintaining sprint. Which, speaking of maintaining sprint, like I mentioned, sprint, you know, if you just run in one direction for long enough, you get sprint. And if you turn around while on the ground, the game gets rid of your sprint. So the way you maintain sprint is by jumping in the air, and while you're in the air, you can hit left, you can hit right, whatever you want, and it'll maintain sprint, as long as you're holding either left or right. And so anytime you see me just wiggling around in the air, turn around a whole bunch, it's because I'm trying to maintain sprint. So anytime you see the little sprint dance, that's what's going on. This level's a little unique, because that enemy down at the bottom, called a back rat, was hitting all these switches and controlling everything in the level when it does. But by knowing how to maneuver through things, you can kind of just ignore it a bunch. Doesn't make the level free or anything, but it makes it a little easier. Knowing how things work out. But that GR17 is by far the most important one to just go and reset at the checkpoint after you grab it, because it takes like a full 10 or 15 seconds to go grab it. But now let's do a quick 80% run of that level. You just hold right. It's a fun level for that, because very, very simple. So this level, it focuses on sproings. You might have noticed it in a couple earlier levels, but basically any block that you can pick up has many of the same properties as the package, in that you can bounce off of it, you can use it to gain extra height, but you can also throw it up into the air and jump off of it. And there are going to be a few times throughout the run where using a sproing, which already gives you a ton of extra height in the first place, where you use it to gain even more height by throwing it into the air before bouncing off of it. This is is a level that is not a free on-time delivery, so hopefully I can get through without making any more mistakes. Alright, I should be good. It's gonna be a little tight, but alright, cool. So something to note about speedruns of this category specifically, it is very, very easy to lose a lot of time very quickly because of the fact that the on-time deliveries are a part of the category. So as you noticed on that level, the on-time delivery was 1 minute and 7 seconds. If I had missed it, I would have had to do an entire other playthrough of the level, which that level is not short. It's like about 30-40 seconds long, even if you know what you're doing. And I was only able to get the on-time delivery on that level by about 3 seconds. So if I had lost 3 more seconds, I actually would have lost over 30 or 40 seconds to the on-time delivery. So that is why runs of this category are very easy to lose time on very quickly, because a very small mistake can spiral into a whole lot of time loss. But that's part of the fun of it. So a lot of optimizing routing of this is all about getting as few playthroughs of each level as possible, because in addition to having to play this level a second time being very slow, having to clear a level a second time is also slow because it takes about 6 seconds to get through the entire level clear animation, not including the dunk itself. Which is why if I skip a GR17 to make the on-time delivery, that's why it's worth doing that no matter what, because simply by not finishing the level and quitting out instead, I save 6 seconds over an alternative. And then this level here is just, we get to go through, kill some enemies, press a few switches, grab a bunch of collectibles, and make it through. It's a pretty simple level, but if this were an 80% run, we would not be doing it as intended, because we don't need a box. That is actually not required for this level, even though it seems like it is, because those green enemies that left behind a little shell after I killed them, those are called scrubs, and one of the properties of scrub shells is that they can hold down switches. And so we can just grab one of those scrub shells, hold down that switch with it instead of using the box, and we can just cut out half the level. But grabbing that box makes sense because we have to go up there for gems anyway, so it's not nearly as impactful in
skipping training seminars. You're a real go-getter.
But in case you didn't see those scrubs, this level focuses on them and their counterpart Oculas. The easiest analog for the two of them is they are red shell and green shell Goombas, in that Oculas will walk off edges when they get to them, and scrubs will not. And they both leave behind shells. So what you can do with shells is you can, go ahead and throw them, you can bounce off of them, you can item hop with them, because when you throw an item, the game then goes and gives you a little bit of height back after you throw it, so you can just keep throwing them continually and item hop. That is not super important in this run, because we still need to get all the gems, and on that level specifically, bouncing off the shells is required to get some of the collectibles. But that level, which is supposed to introduce, throwing the shells and bouncing off them, some people think it requires item hop because they think that's what the level's teaching, which I don't blame them.
Listen,
it's very easy to make that mistake, but I just think it's very interesting. This is the level that's actually supposed to teach you about the fact that throwing an object down gives you height, though. Which is why it's called Kick Jump Grotto. Because that move is technically called Kick Jump. But by using sprint, we can actually just avoid a lot of the intended routes on this level, which is just kind of fun. Also, I just noticed there is a level that is... I did not get all the gems on. What gems did I miss on hide and sneak? Okay, that's a... There has not been a run where I missed gems in a level in a very long time. So I'm genuinely curious which gems I did not collect by accident. This is not a level with like a whole lot of them. But that's fine. Thankfully I noticed now and not 60 levels down the line. Because it's a lot harder to figure out what level you might have missed something on when you have 90 levels to check. So thankfully...
Do you have any runs end like that when starting out learning this category?
Well, starting out running this category, my very first run, I got to the end of the run, realized I missed a GR17, and had to look through the entire map to figure out where it was. Which was not fun because I went backwards through the campaign, and it was on the second level of the campaign, so I had to look at literally every level before I saw it.
Oh no.
But thankfully, I never forgot the GR17 again after that point.
Yeah, that'll teach you, that's for sure.
Yeah, so... Yeah, a big challenge with this category is just knowing where all the collectibles are. And as long as you're observant when you finish the levels, you can notice, because it has those icons for the gems and the bug pieces. And even if you don't know where all the objects are, honestly, when you're starting out, just like getting through the run is more important than like doing everything as fast as you possibly can. So, like my very first run in this category, I also didn't really do a whole lot of prep work, which is partially why I missed that GR17. But as you do more runs, you'll just remember where everything is more and more, and it becomes a lot easier. Because this is a level-based game, it is very easy to just pick out a level, decide, I want to practice this one because I need to just get better at it. Just practice that one level. And while the GR17s don't respawn, you can still go to where they're located and grabbing them through a completed save file, so it's very easy to practice this game, thankfully. Because I know that is not a luxury that every game has.
Always a blessing when it is true about a game, though.
Oh yeah. Something a little interesting about this level, I go back in, I grab the GR17, and this vendor is just unlocked automatically. I don't even have to watch the animation. So what's happening there is when a node requires you to collect a GR17 as part of its unlock requirements, and you collect that GR17 on its own after completing everything else and then quitting out, it does not play the unlock animation for that node. I have no idea why it does that, I just know it works that way. But there are several places in the run where we're already getting the GR17 on its own, so we might as well just do it after we do the full run of the level, quit out, and save a second by skipping that animation. Also say with that, there are a few spots in the run where that's actually not as useful as you think. Because the way it works with unlocks in this game is it'll still play the animation, it doesn't require the GR17. So if I were to, say, unlock a vendor that required the GR17 and then unlock a level which just required completing the level, it'll still show the unlock animation for the level, but not the vendor. And when you unlock more than one thing in this game, the game doesn't force you to move to the next node after it unlocks. But if you unlock only one thing, the game does force you to go to that next node. And so by actually removing the unlock animation, sometimes it is slower because it forces me to move to the next tile before I am able to open the vendor, so I have to do extra map, which actually loses that secondary save animation. So there are some levels I very specifically do not try and skip. That beginning there with the Swoopadoops, as they're called, they're the birds with rules for beaks. Swoopadoops are one of the only things in this game that has RNG. Because enemies, a couple of the types of enemies and portals are the only two types of objects in this game that have RNG. Everything else is very deterministic. Do the same thing, it'll act the same way every single time. But how Swoopadoops work is when they target you and try to swoop at you, the direction they go is not the same every time. It's actually like a cone in your direction. So when you have them lock onto you, the direction they go is RNG in terms of the angle from where they were before they swooped. And so any strategies in the game that requires using a Swoopadoop to bounce off of them, there's just a chance that it's not going to work out the way you want it to because the RNG just didn't go in your favor. And the beginning of that previous level was one of those levels where that RNG centers. But thankfully the Swoopadoops were kind, and so I didn't actually have to deal with it. Here, I will be using the Scrub Shell to hold down the switch like I did earlier. Because this level is essentially like a dungeon kind of level, like you know, old school Zelda inspired, that kind of thing. Go room to room, clear each challenge, and then move on to the next one. We got a little switch puzzle here. We're gonna match the pattern at the top of the room. Grab our key. So in a 100% run, you know, we gotta get all the collectibles. We're going to be visiting every room, we're going to be doing all the puzzles, all that good stuff. But in an 80% run of this level, you skip about half of the puzzles because by getting that Scrub Shell, you can just ignore one of the boxes and just go straight to that puzzle at the end there. And even at the beginning here, you can just super jump up to the next area. You don't even have to go and hit the switch like it at the beginning. So that's a fun one to break apart. But I was just gonna ask, what's the time differential like between Hundo and any percent in this game? The any percent world record in this game is currently just over 43 minutes. I believe it's 43 minutes and 4 seconds, and that requires playing through 62 of the 93 levels. 100%, the current world record is 1 hour and 39 minutes. Which, you know, only an hour apart isn't as crazy as you might expect, but it is definitely a difference. And for comparison, sum of best for runners for any percent is like close to 40 minutes or so. You know, maybe a little above, a little below. And my sum of best for 100% is 1 hour and 27 minutes.
So there might be some variance, you're saying, in the get everything run.
Yes, there's a reason I made the estimate 2 hours when my PB is 20 minutes faster than that. But like I said, that's part of the fun of this run, is just trying to optimize the levels in such a way that you're able to get the on-time deliveries, and strategically leaving out certain things so that you're able to get it and then go back in, do a partial run through the level again to get the GR17 or something along those lines. Because I am still making changes to the route that are either due to optimization or realizations as recently as last week. So this run is far from perfectly optimized, even from a routing perspective. sketchy with some of those deaths, but we got through it. Okay. Because just last week, I was routing multiple backup strats that I just hadn't considered trying before that. I mean, ideally you don't see them, because the nature of a backup strat is you don't want to have to do it, because that means something else went wrong. But those backup strats, if both things were going to go wrong, like the two of them that are like the most substantial, one of them loses you 20 less seconds than the alternative, and one of them loses you 10 less seconds than the alternative. So, needless to say, if they come up, they are definitely worth doing. Because one of them, well, they both involve a glitch that, ideally, again, you don't see it because it's only used for backup strats currently, but there is a glitch in this game called a wrong warp, where basically you're able to load the data from 2 levels simultaneously. And so what that does is you can collect collectibles on one level and have some of them saved for another level. And so specifically that only works for GR17s and bug pieces. And so depending on the layout of levels, it is faster as a backup to get those collectibles technically at a different level, but have them count for the level that you're trying to get them on. But that's only relevant if I don't get everything in under the on-time delivery the first time around, because it is still obviously faster to do that in the first place. This level is all about switches, where half of them you want to hit and then half of them you don't. But it doesn't mean we're doing the whole thing as intended, because we still do a little bit of a jump there to get you a little faster. Alright. Get the GR17, and then this ending section is where we do not want to hit the switch. They will instantly activate all of the spikes in the area.
What a thoughtful design.
I mean, that's part of the fun in this game, is some of the objects are like kind of lenient with hitting them because you're normally supposed to want to. So people just put them in levels, and then all of a sudden they're harder to avoid with the actual hazards because you don't want to hit them. Alright, but this level here is the second power-up level, or the second level that introduces a power-up, I should say. This power-up is called the Zipper. And like the level name suggests, the way is through, because this power-up lets you teleport forward by a few tiles, and as part of teleporting forward, you just go through any walls that are in your way. So, basically you can teleport through any wall that is less than 4 tiles wide, or alternatively, if the wall is made of lead, which is that dark gray looking block, that also prevents you from zipping through it. And so, the zipper is very good at allowing you to beat levels in ways that are not intended. Because if the level doesn't block you from zipping outside of the map or something along those lines, you can just in areas you're not supposed to, because the creator forgot to block those areas off. And when I say that, I'm not just referring to you. There are specific levels in the campaign where they did not block stuff off, so we utilized the zipper to get places we're not supposed to. These levels in ways we're not intended.
Yeah, a short-range teleport always feels good for that sort of speedrun abuse.
Oh, yeah. The cheese that the zipper allows is always a lot of fun. Get in there. Oh, that's unfortunate. Thankfully, I already have the on-time delivery, so I don't have to worry about taking too long here outside of just generic time loss. But getting on top of the map like that is the any percent strat, using the zipper and a super jump here. There we go. Okay. Took a few tries, but that's alright. this is a unique level because it requires you to run left, which in my opinion, is basically blasphemy for a 2D platformer.
One of the earlier runs of today had a pattern where the final level in every world started out with moving left, and yeah, it was a little bit of a shock.
Yeah, there's been more than one run where I start this level by just running in the wrong direction. This is the left one. Something else I want to call out about the GR17. You might have noticed that after I grab it, about a second or two later, there's a little animation that plays, and part of that animation causes the whole screen and everything in the game to basically stop and lag for about half a second. That is just part of the animation. I don't know why they decided to include that. I would have preferred if they didn't, because it's actually an obstacle. It is just an extra hazard, basically, at that point, because it is very easy to get your inputs confused by that little animation and that little delay. Because if you're in the middle of a precise jump and you need to hold A for an exact amount of time, and the game just slows down all of a sudden out of nowhere, needless to say, that's not very easy. And so there's going to be more than a few times in this run where I just wait out that animation before continuing on, because I do not want to accidentally mess up the next strat and have to reset the because it is always faster to wait for a second or two than it is to die and lose like 15 seconds. But one of the bonuses that restarting from a checkpoint or quitting out of a level after getting to tier 17 has is that it cancels that animation, so I just don't need to worry about it. Either of those things. Okay, something else fun to note about the zipper. The zipper has a little slowdown animation of its own where when you zip, the game, pauses for a fraction of a second. And so, if you were to be zipping and not moving forward, it is not faster to be continually zipping because of that little slowdown. But the distance that zipper travels offsets that, and so if I'm running in a straight line, it is faster to constantly mash the zip button by not a wide margin, but it is by enough of a margin that it's noticeable. And so anytime you see me just running in a straight line, and I have a zipper, that is what I will be doing. There is exactly, at least one spot in the run where I will not be zipping, and instead be using other means to get where I want to go, because I am not just zipping for speed, it is slower. This level here, this is a fun one, because this is another example of, if you've ever seen any percent run of this level, you have not seen most of them. They give us a scoring right from the beginning, which means we can just jump wherever we want. But that is not useful. We need to go get all the gems from the place, unfortunately. That doesn't mean we can't have some fun by just having these Lazumis just fly off the side of the map on their own. Thankfully, this is a level with a very lean on-time delivery, so if I end up taking a little bit to do anything in it, it is not bad, because it is followed by a level where not only is this on-time delivery not lenient, it is impossible to get everything in the level, staying in the time limits of the on-time delivery. It is one of 5 levels in the entire game where it's impossible to get all of the gems and all of the bug pieces in the same run as the on-time delivery.
So you've mentioned the variants in the on-time deliveries a couple times. Are those meant to be sort of like staff ghosts or dev times, that sort of thing? Or is it just this was the devs' thoughts on balancing the speed of this game?
So it's basically the equivalent of a hard time. That's what I used to refer to it. So like if you've ever played a game where it's like, here's the time that we want you to try and beat. That's essentially what it is, and Some of the levels you can tell that they were very lenient with them, and just like, this level's kind of complex, there's a lot going on, we'll give you a lot of time. And then other levels are like, oh yeah, this is an auto-scroller, so we're giving you exactly like 4 seconds longer than the auto-scroller takes to finish the level. And then other levels are... Basically, it is not intended for you to get all of the collectibles within the on-time delivery. It is just a happy coincidence that so many of them work out. But, I mean, they made those on-time deliveries what they are, so I'm going to be using them to the best of my ability. For reference, I think the longest on-time delivery in the game is 3 minutes, and the shortest is less than 10 seconds. And while that's partially because the length of levels also vary, it's just a good note that some levels, they really gave you a lot of leeway, and some levels they really don't. This is a level where they do give you a lot of leeway, but I need every little bit of it, because this level is very you know what's better than cycles in a speedrun? Cycles where a bunch of the collectibles flicker in and out based on the cycle you're on. So sometimes you just have to wait for the collectibles to come back into existence. But like I said, real-time delivery is very lenient, and I need every second of it sometimes. Is a fun one, because this level is as close to a pure hold right level as you can get if you want to beat this level as fast as possible, because all you have to do is delay holding right by about like a frame or two at the start so you don't hit one of the obstacles right at the beginning, and from that point forward you never have to let go of right in order to beat the level. It just requires a bunch of very precise jumps. So that is one of the ILs in this game that is technically maxed out. It cannot go any faster. There's not many of those throughout the campaign. But speaking of auto-scrollers, we get a nice good old-fashioned auto-scroller.
Amazing. Mind if I hop in with a message or two then?
That is the perfect time.
Amazing. Well, while we have exhausted our supply of incentives for today, with this being our final run of the evening, that by no means that we have concluded our incentives for the marathon. In fact, we're just getting started. I would love to remind everyone that we have the Mario Kart Wii reverse or normal tracks bid war. Currently, we've got reverse tracks in the lead. That's going to be for Mario Kart Wii Nitro Tracks, No Skips, Item Rain. We also have open not 1, not 2, but 3 different RE5 incentives for tomorrow, including Chris Costume Choice, Shiva Costume Choice, and Punch the Boulder. I am not familiar with RE5, but I am very excited to learn what boulder is getting punched.
I know very little about Resident Evil 5, but I am aware of the boulder. That is the #1 thing being known about that game. And if that gets met, you're definitely in for a treat, because it is very entertaining. Alright, so this level here, it demonstrates what can happen when the game gives you explosives. So what explosives do in this game with bombs specifically, they will hurt enemies and damage them, but the explosions just launch GR18. And so using them as a way to just gain a very, very large amount of speed or height is relevant in quite a few ways. So anytime we can use an explosion to just launch ourselves, that's what we're going to be trying to do. Now we get to have some fun with crawlers. By that I mean try and get through without dying too many times, because These things are just built to be on cycles. But now, this level's pretty fun. It is not an easy one, because it is very easy to just accidentally jump at the wrong time and get hit. Because these guys are not too dissimilar to the mobs in Mario. They're not quite exactly the same, but they have a lot of similarities. But you can tiptoe through them by using bush. So anytime there's crumblers and I have tiptoe, I will be making full use of the bush to make sure I don't get hit. Alright. And this next level coming up here is a fun one. And I'm definitely being serious when I say it's fun. I'm definitely not being sarcastic at all. This is one of the hardest levels to get all of the gems and bug pieces in the same run as the on-time delivery, because of this tunnel right here, which I did not get. And then I died for good measure, but that was not intentional. So what the way gems work in this game is it gives you a good amount of leeway with actually collecting them, where if you're like within about a tile of the actual location of the gem will magnetize to you and you'll collect it anyway, even if you don't actually touch it, which is very important here because that bug piece is a full 2 tiles away. And so using very careful maneuvering, we're just barely able to grab that bug piece while still getting all of the gems. But needless to say, it is very difficult to do it without messing up. And getting the on-time delivery on this level, it is possible to back things up and not need to grab it on the way down. But this level goes from a 25-second level, if you get it on the first try, to over 40 seconds if you have to do the backup. So needless to say, it is a huge waste of time. And if you mess up the backup and go even slower than that, you get to play through it in extra time because it's the on-time delivery. And even the 80% run of this level is very difficult. It requires hitting very specific symbols. So I'm just going to be playing it relatively safe, because I don't want to have to do this level a third time.
Seems fitting to have this as a sort of mini-boss level at right around the halfway mark on the level completions.
Funny you say that, because not this next level, but the level after that is actually what I consider the halfway point in the run, because it marks the end of the second area. And it is also a level that is just centered around killing all the enemies. So that level seems like a very fitting halfway point, in my opinion.
Never mind, I'll just send you an email, I guess.
But a fun thing about this level is it gives you the choice of power up. We picked Zipper because it lets us just skip the fact that there's a door that requires a key to open. Yeah, this level is all about just, there's enemies all over the place, so you gotta try and just kill, you gotta kill all of them in order to beat the level. Thankfully it gives you a whole bunch of bombs, so it's not like you gotta jump on every single screen in this level. It's way more frustrating if you did. And we can just not worry about that key at all, just go ahead and finish it. As I complete that level, you might have noticed that I opened the settings menu for a very brief moment. That was not an accident, I did that on purpose, because as you travel from level to level in this game, you know, you got your little ship, you fly from planet node to planet node, and there's that little bit of travel time in between each level. And sometimes that travel time is a very, very large amount of time for what it is. You know, it goes up to 2, 3, 4 seconds sometimes. And so at any point in the run where it is just way too long, something that opening the settings menu does is it cancels out that animation and just puts you on the next tile right away. And so anytime I open the settings menu like that, it's because opening the settings menu and getting warped directly to the next tile is faster than waiting out the travel animation. And so that is something called a map warp, and I'll be doing it many times throughout the round, including that time I just did right not too long ago. And all in all, it only saves about 4 seconds in total, but considering it's as simple as just opening the settings and closing it, you know, it's a free 4 seconds. So there is absolutely no reason not to do it. Considering how well made and how rock solid most of this game's mechanics are, it is actually pretty surprising that there's any tech that you can do on the map at all, let alone that in fact there's more than one thing that works to just do some crazy stuff and save some time.
Alright, I'll just send you an email back.
Once upon a time, none of it was known. There was nothing you could do on the map. Until we found all of it, not too long after each other. Alright, and then this level here introduces these teleporting sharks. They're known as pop jaws. Pop jaws are one of the other main enemies that are influenced by RNG, because the height that they jump after they teleport, because you'll notice they teleport to your location trying to hit you, and then they pop up and are invulnerable while they're doing that little pop afterwards. And the height that they do after they teleport is random. Most of the time, that doesn't really matter, but there is a couple specific spots in the map where the height at which the pop jaws actually hop matters in trying to kill them. So, thankfully, like I said, only a couple times, but if they decide not to cooperate, it is very unfortunate. Now that we have invaded the vault, stolen the package, finished the level. But this is a level where the GR17 is very, very particular, and so we do have to go back in and edit it on its own. The reason why this GR17 is very particular, in addition to the fact that the content delivery is very tight, requires bringing the bomb down to it, so you have to save a bomb, which you don't have a lot of bombs in this level, unfortunately, so it requires doing the level in a very specific way so that you save a bomb while still going fast.
Gritty? You know, I didn't care if you saw that anyway.
Now that we are out of that level, we move on to the third level in the run that introduces a new power-up. Take a second to actually get to it, but this power-up, what it does is it lets you punch. It is one of the power-ups that is intended for combat, but like everything in this game, it's more movement-oriented than anything else. And what it does is, it's called the waylay, and when you're on the ground, you punch horizontally, and when you're in midair, you punch vertically. Or, not vertically, diagonally. Partially vertically, partially horizontally, aka, you know, a diagonal. But there is a lot of very interesting properties to the punch, where, like, if you punch on the ground when you have sprint, you can just get so much speed that it's absurd. And so any level where that is relevant, I will be trying to do it. And other times I will just be punching to try and gain speed and stuff as well. But the main properties of the punch, in addition to, you know, giving you speed and letting you dash through the air, is it lets you break blocks and it lets you hit enemies. And while I definitely not the biggest fan of the level when it comes to combat, or the power-up mechanics, when it comes to combat, there are definitely a lot of times where punching something is faster than trying to get on top of it and land on it and kill it that way. And this level is a great example of that.
And with that prior level, I noticed you doing 2 air dashes sort of with it. Can you stall in the air infinitely with just upwards punches?
No, but the no is in air quotes. Because under normal circumstances, you can't. Because the recharge time on the dash is long enough that gravity will cause you to fall more than... Oops, I meant to... But gravity will cause you to fall more than you can regain with the height. But there is an item in the game that gives you reduced gravity called a lop sack. And if you hold that item, then yes, you can just dash infinitely while in midair. It makes for some very fun interaction, but unfortunately is not at all relevant to this game, because the only time to give you flop sacks is to not have waylay in a way that's useful. Alright, time to do what I meant to do last time, and not mess up this time. There's 2 types of ways that this game detects enemies. One of them is a switch that detects how many enemies you've killed so far in the level, and the other one kind of switch just detects if the enemy is nearby. And so what I did on that level was, at the end, the switch, all it cares about is this pop draw in the arena? So if we can trick the pop draw into teleporting outside of the arena, we can just avoid killing it altogether. Which is faster than having to take out an enemy that requires 5 hits to kill. Alright, mess up the super jump, so I'm just gonna do this the slow way. Alright, I messed up the slow way because I didn't make it over those fireballs. So I'm just gonna play this, do this the extra slow way, which is missing the on-time delivery. It's unfortunate, but this is not an easy level. Because those conveyors are toe sliders, as they're called. Trying to do sprinting super jumps while on top of them is easier said than done, to say the least. Also, you might have been wondering why I was doing a super jump at the beginning there and then just falling down afterwards. It's because I was trying to get up here, and I was trying to do something called a wall super jump. It is one of the hardest variants of the super jump, because it requires banking the package off a wall so that you're able to land on it in midair, which is extremely precise, to the point where, like, I can't... If you were to just give me a level with a package in the wall, I would maybe get them less than half the time. And so doing them in a speedrun is obviously not easy when they can be that consistent. But doing it at the beginning there, if I get it, I save about 5 seconds getting the GR17. And if I don't get it, I only lose about 2 seconds by going for it. So I always go for it. Because in addition to it being slightly faster, it's also just way cooler. So if I can get a good spectacle out of this, I want to.
Swag factor is very important, it's true.
Like I said, unfortunately it is very difficult, so I do not get it very often. And I'm going to be waiting out this GR17. Because I do a very specific bomb jump to get outside of the map and just cheese this level just entirely. Notice that I was doing a few sprint dashes with the waylay, and it makes you go very, very fast. Well, I guess technically maybe you didn't see it because I was off the map at the time, but you might have noticed that I was going extremely fast in the process, so... You know. Now we got one of the hardest levels in the run. Phew, got through it. Yeah, that level is just meant to show off the fact that boomboxes are an item that exists. And you can use them to make custom music in a user-made level, and you can make some crazy songs if you know what you're doing with them. And you don't technically need musical ability to do it. I know there's a number of people who have just found music online and put it in the game, and it still works out well. But Some of those user made music levels are and that was just a short little sampling, and you didn't even get to hear the song properly because I just ran through it and kind of messed up the whole thing.
So if you want to hear the song, be sure to play Levelhead.
Exactly. Now, but people have recreated like the entirety of Sonic 1, music included. There's people who have, you know, put in. Basically, if you can think of a franchise, somebody has put in at least one of the songs into the game, if not multiple. Which is just very cool. But
Yeah, that's basically all you can hope for out of the custom level user-generated content style of games.
oh yeah. And because you can just program the boomboxes, it's a lot easier than other user-generated content games like Mario Maker, where you have to like make it part of the level. In this game, you just program a bunch of boomboxes and they will just play. Alright, this level here, as the main level designer would put it, this level is a level about stacking boxes. You might have picked up by now, but giving this a box is a very grave mistake. Because it lets us super jump all over the place. So we are doing this level basically kind of in reverse. Because that area at the beginning where we get the waylay, that is intended to be the last part of the level. You get the waylay, and then you get a bunch of boxes, you climb up to where the waylay is, and then you go finish the level from there. But we aren't doing that. Because we don't need to. So by grabbing the waylay early, we're just able to speed through the level a little bit quicker. And then it does technically make this ending a little bit harder because we gotta do a little bit of box shenanigans in order to reach the end, but it's way more interesting to break that level apart. And if you're curious, yes, the 80% run of the level literally just super jumps up to where the package is and finish the level in less than 10 seconds. This level is all about dodging cannons that are just trained on your current location. But thankfully, they're on your, when they fire, there's travel time. Too much trouble. And if something were to get in the way, throw the package at one of these missiles, just destroy it so we can use that for the net is in the way. However, while that level is not too excessive or anything, this next level is quite a bit harder because in addition to firing at you, all the missiles in this level are also homing missiles. We have to do a full lap around just to hit all the switches, and then we have to do another partial lap to get all the collectibles. So, needless to say, this is not an easy level. And for good measure, not only is this level not easy, it is also the only level in the entire run where 3 run-throughs of this level is required for 100%. Are you kidding me? I got damage boost into the goal by accident. That's unfortunate.
Game said only 3.
Well, it's not even just that. I also have to go back and get all the gems again because I didn't get them all the first time. But thankfully, the other 2 run-throughs of this level are significantly easier because one of them is just for the on-time delivery, and one of them is just for the gem 17. So it is not... Once you get all of the collectibles on this first run, all the gems and bug pieces, this level becomes significantly easier. But the reason why you do this level 3 times is the easiest, fastest, and most consistent way to get all of the gems and bug pieces is using the tiptoe. The absolute fastest way to get through the level for the on-time delivery is using the zipper, and the GR17 requires the waylay. And so, doing this level 3 times is because you can utilize all 3 power-ups. Yeah, the zipper's nice because you can just ignore most of the switches and just hit one and you just get through them all. Zipping through the rest of the all the way. grab the GR17 and quit out. And since we already have to get the GR17 on its own, we skip an extra vendor animation for good measure, which is always nice. But I hope you weren't tired of zippers because this level has more. In a level called Battery Gauntlet, as you can expect, the game intends to run around, get a whole bunch of batteries, deposit them, and then open the way to the last section of level 2 to finish it. But we're not doing that. You might have noticed that after that first battery, we just haven't picked up a single battery so far. That is because we don't need to. We have the zipper. And when we hit this box, we grab the zipper, and we immediately go, use that zipper, go to the section that was intended for the tiptoe, try and grab all the collectibles there, preferably without dying. I lost the armor a little bit earlier, which was not ideal, but that's okay. As a consequence of breaking this level apart, the on-time delivery is extremely lenient, so I'm going to afford a death like that. But yeah, grabbing that zipper just lets you go wherever you want in this level, and you just don't have to actually worry about it. Because as you drop down here, down this little hallway of spikes, we grab the rest of the gems, and you'll notice we still haven't opened the door to the goal. But who needs that? We can just go through the walls instead. So yeah, when I mentioned even the devs are not perfect when it comes to zipper boosting levels, that's what I mean. Oh yeah, and also, if you blinked, you might have missed that level. Sorry about that. That is the shortest level in the entire campaign, with an IO record clocking in at 3.54 seconds. This level's all about timing your cannon shots. I didn't mention it earlier, but there are two types of cannons in this game. There's the like light gray ones and the light brown ones, or like tan ones, or whatever color you want to call it. The light gray ones, when you enter them, they instantly will fire you out like without your input. While the light, or the tan ones I should say, those ones will fire you out when you hit the jump button, and they will wait until you do so, if you see them at any other point in the run, some of them I control, some of them I do not. This level is a nice little, like, room-to-room, kind of like puzzle platforming level. But we only do about half of it as intended. We get a super jump at the beginning to skip going back to the main area. Here at the end, we're going to... there's a box down below that we're supposed to go around and grab. We can just grab it through the spikes, because spikes don't actually stop your grabber. Yes, that is what some people like to call the forbidden tech, because it's people always forget you can just grab through those spikes. So just because you have them there as an obstacle, you can just grab through them if you don't put enough of them, which is always kind of funny. And this level is just about throwing all the keys in the right slots at the right time. This next level is one of the most infamous levels in the entire run, because as a casual, this level is very hard and very annoying. As a beginner speedrunner, this level is very hard and very annoying. And even once you know what you're doing and have speedrun this level a lot of times, this level can be very hard and very annoying. This is Hollow Mountain Hike. And, you know, a vertical level with like a bunch of moving platforms that you have to be careful with and like carefully navigate and everything. You know, that sounds hard enough on its own, but now take that level and imagine having to do it twice. Because you gotta go up to grab all the batteries, gotta take all the batteries back down with you, and then go back up again after depositing all the batteries. And, you know, it's a vertical level with moving platforms. One mistake and you start falling back down the mountain, a la getting over it. So it is very easy to just start losing time very quickly if you're not careful.
Yeah, I just noticed the on-time delivery for this seems uncharacteristically long for this game.
Oh yeah, 2.5 minutes. That's the one consolation for this level, is that when you're trying to get all the collectibles, you don't have to worry about missing the on-time delivery at least. Yeah, and then at the end here, I could be a little fancy, I could have kept sprint through this whole section, but in order to make it actually any amount of consistent, I have to wait for those platforms to line up with the gems anyway, so I just wait. And it will always be easier to do that than try and do anything fancy. But if you thought a vertical getting over it style level with platforms was bad, make it horizontal, and instead of having to redo stuff, you just die if you fall off. That's this level. This level is a lot shorter, so it's a lot easier to like nail down a strategy that you can do with some amount of consistency. But that doesn't make it easy. That just makes it a little bit easier once you practice it a lot. Because you're still platforming on moving platforms that are also moving through space in addition to rotating, that are also only one tile wide. So needless to say, it is far from an easy level. But thankfully, we got through it with only one. Because that's part of the other problem with this level, is that there's only that one checkpoint halfway through. So if you make mistakes, you have to either do the entire first half or the entire second half again. Alright, this level here, this level used to be the end of the campaign. This level was released in early access, and so what that means for the campaign is the campaign was built as early access went. It was not all built when the game came in early access. And so as the devs added more items, learned more about the game, they continued building the campaign. And so there's a point in time during early access where this was the final level of the campaign. Because you'll notice it lets you use all the powers you found so far, and it's got like a sort of finale feel to it, in a sense. But it is not the end of the campaign. There's in fact still another 30 levels or so to go. Because they kept
Still feels like a good checkpoint.
Yeah, exactly. Not great. I need to grab that gem. I cannot. That is a gem that I cannot go back and grab out, unfortunately. Because that purge gate makes you lose your power up, and I can't get to this next section. But thankfully got it the next time, and since the on-time delivery of this level is 2 full minutes, there's more than a little bit of leeway. But fun fact, the 80% run for this level, you'll notice, you know, it's even if I were to not make any mistakes, it's well over a minute long and stuff. The 80% run for this level is less than 17 seconds, because at the beginning of the level you can use a very specific damage boost, plus the zipper, to get up on top of the map and then just skip almost the entire level.
Improv skipping training seminars.
It is very unfortunate you don't get to see it in the 100% run. But it is a very fun, where a level that is normally 50 seconds to a minute long just gets cut down by over seconds like that.
Well, while we are through the major checkpoint, you mind if I cut in with a message or two and to welcome our raiders? Amazing. So, welcome on in, Raiders. I hope everyone was doing well. You are tuning into Green Gaming Fest, raising money for One Tree Planted, One Tree Planted is a charity focused on reforestation. Their vision is we want to make it simple for anyone to help the environment by planting trees. Together, we can restore forests, create habitat for biodiversity, and make a positive social impact around the world. They plant one tree with every dollar donated, and you can check them out on their website at onetreeplanted.org. Right now, as we are at the end of this day of marathoning, the incentive we have next up is for Mario Kart Wii. That's going to be early tomorrow. We're going to get an item rain run, and there is a bid war up for reverse or normal tracks for that. Item rain is always a wonderful time, and so if you are feeling generous, please hit that donate link, !donate in the chat. We'd love to see you, and thanks again for the raid.
Alright. So, this level here, or rather this section as a whole, there's just a lot of difficult levels with tight on-time deliveries. You might have noticed that last level I did not make the on-time delivery, unfortunately, a couple of mistakes. This level is in a very similar boat where it's very tight. But this is also the point in the run where they introduce these little grab nodes, which are called flingos. You grab them and they launch you in the opposite direction from where you grabbed them. And a fun little mechanic with them is the further away you grab them from, the further they launch you. And so there's going to be spots in the run where I specifically want to grab them from as far away as possible to get as much of a launch as possible. Thankfully I did get the on-time delivery on this one, so I can just grab the GR17 and bring it. But a fun fact about that last level, the IL for getting all of the collectibles for that level is the only level in the entire game that has an IL strat that requires resetting at the checkpoint. Because there is a little quirk with cannons and the fireballs that they shoot, where if you grab a checkpoint, basically right when they fire a fireball, when you respawn, the fireball will be inside the cannon and instantly get despawned, because the fireball's inside of a wall. And so by resetting in the middle of that previous level from the checkpoint, we can cause a fireball to despawn and be able to get through that middle section with that hallway with fireballs shooting. You have to jump over them to get on the jets.
I hate meetings too.
By getting rid of one of the fireballs, we can get through that section a full 2 seconds faster. The problem is, the fireball that you're trying to time things with, the checkpoint is off screen when you grab the checkpoint. So there's a very good reason why I do not go for that in full runs, even though it would save a little bit of time. Do the little sprint dance through that tight corridor to keep it all the way there. Wrong button. Alright, I feel like this is as good a time as any to mention how platforms, if you run off of them and jump, they add their current momentum to your momentum. And so using platforms, we can get through some sections a lot faster, but that also counts as a platforming hazard, where if we're not careful and we jump while on a platform, we will keep that momentum and go somewhere that we don't want to. And that's very relevant for this level, where the whole thing is dividing the platform through. Also, you might have missed it at the beginning there, but the game does not intend you to get that one bug piece and that one little batch of gems in the same run through this level. It is intended for there to be 2 different routes at the beginning, and you can only pick one of them at a time. But that's slow. That's no fun. You know, we can just instead do something called a pixel jump. Be able to jump up on the hazards in a way that we're not intended to, and just go ahead and grab them all, and then be able to catch back up with the platform before it leaves. So what a pixel jump is, hazards in this game are not a full tile of hazard, so essentially, you can stand on the tile of the hazard on top of if you are very precise with your wall, because there is a small gap between the hazard and the blocker. So, by being very, very precise, you can do that, stand on a platform that you're not supposed to be able to stand, and utilize that to go places that you're not supposed to, in ways that you're not good. Unfortunately, it doesn't come up a ton, because a lot of the places where it might be useful, it is a very, very precise trick if you don't have a wall to line up against. And so, the only time I ever go for a pixel jump on a run is using what is called an assisted pixel jump, which is, like I said, you use a wall to line it up, and that makes it significantly easier to do. There we go. Just missed the switch every single time before that. Okay. But an unassisted pixel jump is where you just kind of YOLO it and try and land on it without any assistance from a wall, and those are a lot more precise. Because if you line up against a wall, you can literally just tap the stick a tiny amount and you'll land on the little gap every single time next to the hazard. Which is why those are significantly more. This level here introduces an item called the Electro Shield. So what that does is it is one of the two invincibility items in the game. There is the Electro Shield and there is the debuff. One of them makes you invincible against enemies, that's the Electro Shield, and it also kills them whenever you touch them. The debuff protects you against hazards and lets you run on things like spikes. The D-Bot will not protect you from enemies, and you will still die if you hit an enemy, while the Electro Shield does not protect you against hazards, and if you hit a spike, you will still get killed. But any level that gives you Electro Shield and requires you to kill enemies, it is significantly faster to kill those enemies with Electro Shield than it is to try and kill them in any other way. It instantly kills them. Okay. This level is all about non-standard obstacles. Because that section you had to avoid the blasters the first time, and the second time. Like I said, those are the kinds of objects that have very forgiving hitboxes. They're not meant to avoid them in normal circumstances. Something cool about the Electro Shield that is also shared by the Waylay is that if you kill an enemy with it, that enemy launches off into the distance. But that's not just a visual thing. That enemy that gets launched off into the distance also is able to collect gems. And so, by hitting some enemies in a very specific way, we were able to collect a few gems a little bit faster than we would be able to otherwise.
Here, I thought you were just doing it for the very cool platform fighter-esque death animation on the enemies.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the reason they put it in as an animation, but the fact that they made it also collect gems makes it gameplay as well, which I think is pretty cool. The problem is being precise with it, which is why we don't use it more. But this level, the whole gimmick was getting through the level without killing any of the enemies. If I had killed any of the enemies, the game would have spawned all those spikes and I would have instantly died. But thankfully, I got through it cleanly. Alright, and then this level
You know what? You already knew all that. Don't worry.
this cutscene is the first level with the next power-up. This power-up is called the Ripcord. It's like a jetpack and a helicopter all in one, because it gives you a boost when you're in midair with a limited amount of fuel, and it gives you a propeller that lets you glide down. You're in midair. Relatively simple power-up, all things considered, but it is still very... And I like it a lot. Not everyone's the biggest fan of this one, partially because it's not the most interesting power-up mechanic-wise, but when used well, it is a lot of fun stuff. And since we have a limited amount of fuel, I do need to re-land on the ground every once in a while to get that back. And it is also refilled by landing on an enemy and bouncing off them. That also refuels in the next level. And using the ripcord is all about managing how much fuel you have while also, you know, platforming through the levels as best as you can. Yeah, the whole thing about this level is to teach you about how you can land on enemies to recharge your jetpack. Right, I have floundered around in that area for a little bit too long. I did not count my own videos anymore. But that's okay. That armor would have been nice to keep, but I can make do. This is a level where swoop and noob RNG can very much just cause you to die if they don't want to cooperate. Specifically because the IL strap for that level. I mentioned before how you know, you can go off the side of the map on any direction, including down if you have a way to get back up. The ripcord is a way to get back up, although it is very, very difficult and precise. So that section in the middle where I was grabbing batteries, it is actually possible to instead go under the wall and just go to the end using that instead, but it is a very, very difficult skip that even in any percent runs where I do use it, I only get it like 30-40% of the time on a good day. So needless to say, it is very difficult, but it saves over 10 seconds on the run, so it is worth going. This level was very annoying because it requires you to drop down through a whole lot of obstacles and a whole lot of moving fireballs, and it is just very, very tricky. Because if one little bit of the cycle doesn't line up the way you want it to, all of a sudden you are going to very quickly die. We got a nice little ripcord waller section now. A lot of swoops. That is a very satisfying experience to get through it quickly and kill everything very quickly, but having to get the collectibles does make that a little bit trickier to do sometimes. Now we are in the final stretch of the run, as I like to think about it, because there is 11 levels left. We're getting very close to the end here. This level is here to show you how not all cannon shots are immediately deadly to you, because these cannon shots, all they do is explode, and therefore all they do is push you around, which can be very useful if you're able to line them up properly. But if you're not careful, they will just launch you into spike and instantly kill you. But thankfully, we can also just use it to our advantage to go a little bit faster. And speaking of bombs, we're gonna be blowing up a lot of them here. It's a little bit of like a puzzle level where you gotta throw the bombs in specific spots to blow up certain things and move other objects. But like that one section with the yellow key, we can just catch the key in transit. We don't actually have to do the level as intended, which is nice. Right, this next level, It's another platformer auto-scroller. Not a true auto-scroller, because we can, for an any percent run, the platforms don't actually matter. We can skip everything. But we gotta ride them around in order to get all the collectibles. But even then, there's still some fun movement that we can do near the end to go just a little bit faster.
Love auto-scrollers that are only auto-scrollers in name.
Oh yeah. That's why I only ever say there's 2.5 true auto-scrollers in this run, because there's only 2.5 levels that use the camera as a way to force auto-scrolling. Any level that uses moving platforms like this is not really an auto-scroller when you can skip parts of the level by just doing very nice jumps. And yes, I did say 2.5 auto-scrollers, because there's one level where the camera is only forcing you through the auto-scroller for part of the level. It does disengage for part of the level as well. This level's actually a pretty simple one. It's all about these time switches. And when many of these other levels near the end are significantly more complicated, it's a nice little
Not everything in the final 10 can be ridiculous gauntlets.
Yeah, but it's way more fun to watch the speedrunner have to deal with 10 ridiculous gauntlets in a row. Whether or not it's fun to do 10 gauntlets in a row, that's up for debate. This is one of those weird, crazy levels that can be very frustrating. Because the game in this level, you gotta get those cannons to fire at you in such a way that they influence the in the environment. Which includes this section here, where you have to bait them into killing these enemies. The problem is, these flapjacks, they can just decide they want to jump over the missiles and not get hit. And you can't do anything about that. You just have to wait for the cycle to light up. Sometimes you can get stuck there for like upwards of 20 seconds if you get really unlucky once you mess with the initial blast. Because by hitting the zoomies, you can instead force them to get killed by proxy, because those zoomies never hit the ground and are significantly easier to hit. And so by hitting them with a blast using those zoomies, that section's significantly easier. But flapjacks just do whatever they want, unfortunately. Now we have the level with the best level name in the entire campaign, Grand Theft Grotto.
That is an excellent level name.
So this level is all about, we're going to be going through a lot of areas where you have to kind of sneak through. We gotta like be precise with our movement, to a few enemies, all while navigating the grotto as fast as we can. This is one of the longest levels in the game. The any percent run on this level is the second longest any percent IL in the entire game, and is one of only 2 ILs that are over a minute long. Because this level, it has a ton of sections. You can do a whole lot of little time saves on many of those sections, but you can't outright skip any. So you just gotta optimize all of them as much as you can. So because of that, I find this level actually pretty fun. I like running it a lot. But it is not easy. Partially because of this flapjack right here. If he doesn't want to cooperate, he'll just bounce into that slurp right there, which I actually haven't mentioned yet, but slurp juice is an item that slows you down. It literally slows everything in the world down to like 50 or 60% speed. And obviously in a speedrun, going slower is bad. So if that flapjack doesn't want to cooperate, he will just bounce over the slurp juice and you either have to wait for him to bounce back or risk getting it. Neither of which are ideal.
How long does the slowdown effect last?
Yeah, bro, I didn't care if you saw
I
that
don't remember how long it lasts exactly, but I always say it leads to about 5 seconds to pick it up. So
Yeah, it seems a little inconvenient.
long enough to not like it, but not long enough for it to be super great for your casuals even. But there will be 1 or 2 times when the game does force me to pick up Slurb, so unfortunately you will get to see the full effects of it at some point. But this level here introduces the final power-up you'll be seeing in the campaign today. This is the Rebound. It is the obligatory projectile power-up, because, you know, it's a platform, you gotta have something that shoots projectiles. But in true Levelhead fashion, it is not as simple as just firing projectiles. It also launches you in the opposite direction. So, in addition to being able to shoot things at enemies, you are also launched in the opposite direction for the same platform. And so there's going to be quite a few levels where it is used for both hurting enemies and trying to get them doing as fast as possible. No. Oh, I got caught in these little lips at the end there. Dang it. That's unfortunate. Alright, well, we get to do this level one more time. Get just a little bit more time to read.
Well, while we're doing that real quick, we had another raid come in, so welcome on in, raiders. Hope whatever you are up to was lovely. You made it just in time for the thrilling conclusion of Levelhead 100%, which is going to be our final run for the day. When I say day, I mean we're taking a relatively quick, just a couple hours sleep break, and then getting started bright and early tomorrow. This is Green Gaming Fest, raising money for One Tree Planted, a charity focused on reforestation. I hope everyone is comfy cozy, and here is the very end of Levelhead.
Yes, as we are approaching the final 4 levels here. One thing to note about the Rebound is you can only fire 2 shots at one time, and once you fire those 2 shots, you have to wait a little bit for those shots to recharge. And there's like a little visual indicator, you might know, like little like sweat marks or little like white things that show up near GR18 when they recharge. What that means for... I'm just gonna do that. I know 1 too many times for breaking. But what that means for, you know, managing your shots, you know, you only get 2 shots at a time. But that recharge starts after the first shot, not the second shot. And so if you're able to time your shots in such a way that you use the first shot and not the second shot, and then you go and use the second shot right before the recharge happens, you are actually able to get up to 3 shots in a row. And it requires very precise timing. It is not an easy thing to do. And like, it requires getting a very good feel for how long that recharge takes. But if you are able to manage that, you are... Some of these levels, the speedrun route revolves around trying to manage your shots in such a way that you always have an additional shot ready. Whether it be to fire 3 shots in a row, or to save a shot, then fire 2 shots in a row, and then still have another shot left over, and then save that shot, and then fire that shot, plus another shot, and have another shot left over, so on and so forth. It is a very important thing to managing these speedruns for these last few levels. And especially so on this next level here, which is the final auto-scroller of the run, and a level that is very, very reasonable when you're not getting the collectibles, and very, very difficult when you are. So yeah, finishing this level with all the collectibles will generally have about a second of leeway, and the whole time you have to compete with the auto-scroller, which does not slow down for anything. There we go.
Nice.
That level is very stressful because one tiny mistake requires you to go through the entire level again. And the fact that it's an auto-scroller means that it will take that exact amount of time with like 2 seconds of variance every single time you play it, so it is not one that is ready to mess up. But this is the second to last level to run, and like I'm sure everybody was expecting. Like I'm sure this isn't a surprise to anybody. The second to last level in the campaign is a troll level, because you gotta have a troll level in your campaign. I don't see why you wouldn't.
Is that the rule?
It is now, yeah. So this is actually a pretty fun troll level, casually. It's not too mean. It's got a few fun little like switcheroos. But I already know all the trolls, so I'm just gonna be going through it. You're not gonna be seeing a whole lot of them. But with that, we will be coming up on the final level here. Time is not until I skip the credits, because, like I mentioned, all nodes matter for the 100% completion. So I need to skip the credits in order to actually get 100%. Time will end after I skip the credits, which will be a little bit after I finish this level here. But this last level, it is the final hurrah for everything in the campaign. And what that means is we're going to have a section with every power, as well as utilizing many, many of the items. There's a lot going on, and this is that level with the 3-minute long level that I mentioned a while back. This is by far the longest level in the entire campaign.
Some amount of sense, putting that at the end.
Exactly. This is also one of the largest levels in the campaign speedrun, just because there is so much going on. There's just so many small ways to save time. Because the 80% route for this level, that one part where like I have to dodge all of these projectiles while getting all those boxes and everything, you can actually make it through the door at the end of that section, and then turn around and grab one of those boxes where it closes, and then use that to immediately go to the ripcord section, so you can just kind of not ever do the tip-tip section. The gems and the bug pieces in that section. So unfortunately, we do not get to see them in 100%. We get 2 brawlers in this level. One for ripcord, or one for waylay, I mean, and one for rebound. Now, the rebound brawler fire a bunch of shots before they respawn, and they're almost dead right away. And this zipper is the last power-up we're going to be getting for the last hurrah. Go over here, cycle through all the power-ups one last time. Collectibles. Or grab a slurp for good measure. And that is the final level of the Levelhead campaign. And assuming I didn't miss anything at any point in the map, time will be coming up in a very, very short moment. Gotta get through this last vendor. And time will be...
Congrats! I hate meetings too,
GG.
Thank you. And as you can see in the tracker, we have 100% completion.
That's a relief.
Yeah, if I were to ever miss a vendor in one of these runs, I would not be happy trying to find that after the fact.
Is vendor the most likely, like, accidental skip there?
I'm not going to say it's likely, but it is not tracked in the top right, so it is very easy to not notice if you were to miss one.
Gotcha. Well, congratulations on a phenomenal Levelhead 100%. I know you were just recently on Hotfix. I think this beats that out. I'm showing 147.16 by our RTA.
Yes, that is about 2 minutes faster than what I got on Hotfix.
All right, the Green Gaming Fest blessing. You love to see it. Thank you so much, Sam. Please tell the people where they can find you and who else in your communities you want to shout out.
Absolutely. For anybody who wants to see more runs of this game, or maybe a few other speed games here and there, I mostly do this game though, go ahead and check out my Twitch on twitch.tv/IlligallySam. I try and do runs every week, and I usually succeed in that. And not sure what I want to tackle next with this game, because I finally got the first sub 140 in this category last week, but who knows, I might end up trying to bring that even lower. But if anybody's ever interested in checking out this game, either casually or as a speedrun, the community, both casual community and speedrun community, gathers in the Butterscotch Shenanigans Discord, which is the developers of this game. I'm pretty sure that's linked on the speedrun.com page, and it's also even found on the ticker on the bottom of the menu in like the home area for this game. And if anybody wanted to ever try out this game, it is available on almost every platform. It's on Xbox, Switch, PC, Android, iOS, anything that's not a PlayStation. So if anybody is interested in picking this game up, if you're a speedrunner and you want to try this out, I'm more than happy to help anybody that wants to. And if you're not a speedrunner, pick it up anyway and say hi, and I will be more than happy to send you a few levels if you want to try out some stuff.
And we can make a speedrunner of you, yes.
But I think that's pretty much it. I think that's pretty much all I've got. So thanks for having me and letting me show off this run.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, that is going to be the end of day 1 of Green Gaming Fest. But day 2 starts very, very soon. The plan is to take a very short sleep break, Sleep Percent the prequel, and then Green Gaming Fest will pick up at 3:25 Eastern, with some Doraemon 3. Kefka is going to be running, Kefka 14. That is coming so soon. So if your time zone permits it, please stick around for that, or, take a break, rest, hydrate, all the good things, and then come back for day 2 of Green Gaming Fest. This is also going to be the end of my host shift. When we come back in the early morning, Treveria is going to be hanging out with you all. So thank you so much again to everyone who rated in and everyone who's been hanging out here all afternoon and evening. And we hope